In managerial accounting, in the capital budgeting chapter, we're going to calculate two things that are very important: the net present value and the internal rate of return. Hey, if you're new, my name is Jeff from Finally Learn. I teach a lot of accounting, a lot of finance, and so please like, comment, subscribe, and let's get started with this problem. Now, this is the second problem we've worked on in capital budgeting. The first problem was just doing payback period. And so how long does it take for you to recover your initial investment? So it doesn't include time value of money. So it's not a preferred method. It's an easy method and it's fine, but it's not a preferred method. The two preferred methods really are net present value and internal rate of return because they include time value of money. So we're trying to decide on two different projects, Alpha and Summa. And the project cost is given as a negative number in time period 0 or year 0. And then we have, for the next 6 years, we have some cash flow. Well, Summa is going to be the same type of project, except it's going to cost more money but have more cash flows and then more toward the end. So what we need to do is calculate first. We're going to calculate net present value for each project. And then we'll do the internal rate of return. So let's assume the required rate is 12%. So I'm going to grab the cash flows here. For Alpha, so here's what we have. We have the project cost is $160, and then we have all the year's cash flow. Now, we're going to discount those at 12%, and we'll get the present value of that, that stream of payments, and then we'll compare it to the $160,000. So if our present value turns out to be $170,000 minus the $160,000, we would have a positive $10,000 net present value. Our decision model is if the net present value is positive, we would accept the project. If it's negative, we're not getting the 12% return in this case, and so therefore we would reject. All right, so our required rate of return is going to be 12%, okay? Now, I'm on Excel, and the best way to do this is either with a financial calculator or with Excel. Now, sometimes a lot of accounting classes and a lot of accounting professors, they want to use interest tables like in the back of the book. That's not an efficient way of doing it, and that's not the way that we actually calculate that in the real world. It's maybe okay for doing a test or a class project or a class assignment, but that's not the way you want to do it. So there's actually a net present value function that we're going to use in Excel. We can get more done if we use technology. All right, so our net present value, let me just put it right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for net present value by the FX. Now I'm on a Mac, and so therefore my formula builder is at the very right. Let me show you how to do that formula builder. Right here where the FX is, this is open the formula builder. And I'm going to search for NPV. Well, I have it. I've done it recently. But if I don't see it, then I'll just type in NPV. And you see that it's here, net present value. So here's what I need. I need to point to the rate of return. And I need to point to all the values. Now, I'm not going to take time period 0 because that's already at present value. I'm going to take the years 1 through 6. And I'm going to hit OK. So here's what happens. The present value of all these cash flows from years 1 through 6 is $157,382, almost $383. So then we're going to take that answer, which is the present value, and I'm going to subtract out the 160. The 160 is already a negative number, so I just need to add that negative 160. And so what's our answer? Our net present value here, our NPV, is negative 2617. I'm going to make it where I have whole dollars. It's not going to matter the pennies here. So what do we do? If it's negative, it means we have not achieved a 12% return, so therefore we will reject this project. Okay, so that's how we do the net present value. We got another one to do, same type of problem. Let me show you how this works. So for Summa, we have the same kind of thing. We have a $240,000 cost, and then we have 6 years of positive cash flows. We still want a 12% rate of return, And so we're going to calculate the NPV. Calculate the NPV here. So the way we do this is I already have my formula builder set up here. So I'm going to do net present value. I need to point to the rate, which is 12%. And I'm going to point to my cash flows, all the year 1 through year 6 cash flows. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's 253,000. And then I'm going to subtract out the 240. So our present value is 253, but our net present value is 13,000. And I'm going to make it a whole number here. We don't need the pennies. So 13,000 is positive, so we're receiving greater than 12%, so we would accept this project. So we have two projects. One at 12% comes out to be a negative number, so we reject it. One comes out to be a positive number, so we accept that. Now, net present value is very dependent upon the interest rate. What if we did a 10% rate of return? This changes to 10%, and we would accept because the net present value is positive. So what that means is the internal rate of return is in between 10 and 12%, because the internal rate of return is the rate of return that makes the net present value 0. So it was negative at 12, it's positive at 10, so it's in between 11 point something probably. And so what we have is, at this point, we would accept. We would change that rejection to exception, and net present value gets to be larger than at a lower discount rate. Let's change it back to the 12%. So we would reject because we're not getting 12% return. We have a negative net present value, we would reject. We have a positive net present value, we'd accept. All right, so the next part of this problem, I don't think I've even wrote it out here. Let me copy this down. So number 2 is, let's calculate, I can change this really quickly, calculate the internal rate of return for each project. Calculate the internal rate of return, or IRR, for each project. Okay, this is even simpler on Excel. Once again, use Excel. Now, if you're using interest tables, like many accounting professors do, or the back of the book, if you're in accounting, then likely what happens is, I get choked up talking about this, sorry, haha. Then likely what they do is they use tables in the back of the book, and you don't have a financial calculator, and you don't have Excel to use. And this is a difficult thing to calculate without using technology. So let's calculate, for these two, let's calculate the internal rate of return. So let's calculate it for, we've got alpha and we have summa. So what is the internal rate of return? Well, once again, I'm going to use the formula builder. There is an IRR built into Excel, and it's super easy. For alpha, here's what I need to do. I need to highlight. Now watch, I'm highlighting. The values here includes the original cost, which has to be negative, and then the positive cash flows. We can guess. We know it's going to be a little bit more than 10, a little bit less than 12. I typically don't guess anymore. Excel is old. You know, Excel is 40 years old now. Came out in 1985. So in 2026, Excel is 41, right? So back 40 years ago, this was a helpful thing to put in 10%, and it would start at 10% and then work either up or down, whatever it works on. But our computing power is so much more impressive, much faster now that we don't have to guess. So I don't guess anymore on this. And in fact, it kind of gives us a heads up here, kind of gives us a initial calculation. It's going to be 11.24%. So let's hit done. 11.24% is the internal rate of return for alpha. Remember, we speculated that it's in between 10 and 12. So if I put 11.24 here, then it essentially comes out to be 0. So and if I pointed to, and if actually meant more decimals, then it would work out a little bit better. But at 12%, it's negative. At 11%, it's really close to zero. 11.24, it's really essentially zero. All right, so let's go back to the 12%. All right, what is our internal rate of return for SUMA? Well, at 12%, it's still positive, so it's going to be greater than 12%. Sometimes you see that in an accounting book and it says, well, what's the internal rate of return? And because you can't calculate it, they don't help you learn how to do Excel or the financial calculator, then it says, well, it's more than 12%. And I'm not happy with that answer. That's unsatisfying, that answer. You can do this on Excel, you can do this on your financial calculator. All right, so our internal rate of return is going to be the year zero all the way through the positive numbers, hit OK. It's going to be something like 13.74%. So alpha returns 11.24, SUMA returns 13.74. At 12%, we would reject alpha, but we would accept SUMA. At 10%, we would accept both of them because it exceeds, both of those internal rates of return exceed the 10% if you require 10%. At 15% required rate, we would reject both, okay? So this is how net present value and internal rate of return are connected. Now, my next video, I can show you how to do it on the calculator, on the financial calculator. You're more likely to have a financial calculator on an exam, but you need to know how to do the financial calculator and Excel to calculate these problems. If you're in finance, be happy that you're in finance because they're letting you use a calculator, they're letting you use Excel, but accounting for some reason just hasn't switched over to the Excel and the financial calculator in class.